If you've been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, it is very likely that your doctor has said something to you like this in some way, shape, or form. Medications are your only option. What if I told you that yes, medications are needed to manage autoimmune symptoms and they are not the whole solution? My name is Gianna. I am a clinical nutritionist, a connective tissue condition specialist, and a scleroderma warrior now 9 years in unmedicated remission. I'm here to tell you that even if you've been sick or battling and fighting for over a decade, there is a way that you can experience more symptom-free, flare-up-free days so that you can live your life again. And one of the things that you can do to do this is utilizing your medication as a bridge, not a sole solution. Now, it's very, very likely that when you were diagnosed with a connective tissue condition like scleroderma, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, or more, your doctor gave you a prescription or multiple prescriptions. At least in my case, that's what happened. And in that process, you were told two things. One, that your diagnosis has no cure, and therefore you will have this condition for the rest of your life. And two, that medication is your only option for managing autoimmune symptoms. Now, what if I told you that both of these things can be factual in nature, however, they do not tell you the whole story? Despite the fact that there is no medical cure for autoimmune disease does not mean that there are no options. Instead, you can use this information as a starting point so that you can start healing from the inside out and the outside in. And the way that you can start doing this realistically and safely is by using needed medication as a bridge for healing. So in this podcast, that is what you're going to be learning today. How it's possible to utilize medication for healing and how you can start doing this today so that you can experience more days this summer feeling connected, present, and alive with the people that you love. Now, when we are talking about being diagnosed with an autoimmune disease and being told that you're going to have a condition for the rest of your life, there is truly something that happens in your brain. And I would argue that this is trauma. This is traumatic. When a doctor tells you, hey, you're going to have this for the rest of your life, right? This changes your life forever. So when your doctor then gives you medications, prescriptions to take, most people, I know that I'm included in this, you think that these prescriptions are going to help you feel better. You think that these prescriptions are going to help you experience more symptom-free, flare-up-free days. Unfortunately, this is not the case. And this is why. Because most, if not all, autoimmune medications that are used to manage symptoms, they're experimental in nature, which means that there's no way we know how, one, your body's going to respond, and two, how effective they're going to be. In fact, if you've had an autoimmune disease for a couple of years now, it's likely that you've been on a medication that actually stopped working and you had to change a biologic, right? This is very, very common in the autoimmune experience. Not only do we have to find a medication that works, but at any given point in time, this medication could stop working, which, gosh, goes into the emotional trauma of having an autoimmune disease, but we'll dive into that in another episode. Right now, we're going to be focusing on medication and how to utilize this for healing. So with that being said, how do you do this? How is it possible? And what can you do to not only take medications, but utilize them in a way so that you can experience more flare-up free, symptom-free days? Now, one way that we do this within the Autoimmune Babe Wellness Circle is we actually dive into the simple foundations. The way that you can start doing this is not eliminating gluten, sugar, and carbohydrates. It's not eating cleaner or following the carnivore diet. It's not taking random supplements that you find online after hours of researching on Google and ChatGPT. These things will not help you utilize your medication as a healing bridge. Instead, these things will actually get you stuck in the same negative feedback loop that you are likely in right now. One that leads you to feel defeated, exhausted, and overwhelmed because you're not sure if it will ever work for you. When in reality, your body wants to heal just as much as you do. You don't have a consistency problem, you have a strategy problem. And this right here, this strategy will be one of many pieces that allows you to not only increase your odds of remission, but to take back what autoimmune disease has already stolen from you. So let's dive in. Did you know that medications deplete the very nutrients that your body needs to heal? It's true. Now, if you take medications like methotrexate, you might actually be aware of this because if you're taking methotrexate orally or via injection, you're probably also taking a folic acid, right? This is because methotrexate depletes folic acid significantly, and this is one of the reasons why we supplement with it. What if folate is not the only thing depleted by methotrexate? What if there are other essential vitamins and minerals that your body needs to heal that are actively being depleted when you are taking medications like methotrexate? This is exactly what is happening. This is likely the reason why you feel like you're doing all the right things, taking the medications, trying to eat cleaner, trying to exercise, trying to hydrate, asking your doctor, why do you still feel like crap? It is very, very likely that the medication that you are utilizing to manage your symptoms are depleting you of the very vitamins and minerals your body needs to heal. And when I say heal, I'm not just talking about this elusive idea of healing. I'm talking about fighting inflammation. I'm talking about preventing flare-ups. I'm talking about tissue repair, especially if you have, again, a connective tissue autoimmune disease. Tissue repair is essential to the quality of your life and how severe the prognosis of your disease is. There is a way that you can set your body up for success. Your body can heal more efficiently and you can get more benefits from the medications that you are taking right now. How can I say this so confidently? Because this is the very strategy that I used to increase my odds of remission, and now I am living scleroderma free for 9 years and I'm 38 weeks pregnant. I struggled with scleroderma for over 12 years before starting my healing journey. And now I help women and men take back control of their health one step at a time using strategies like the one that you just learned right now. Imagine if you're not just taking methotrexate. What if you're taking Cellcept or hydrochloroquine or prednisone? Do you see how all of these medications can bring in their own deficiencies? And now, instead of just being deficient in vitamin D and zinc and folate, you're now deficient in a variety of vitamins and minerals, and these vitamins and minerals can be the difference between you picking up your daughter pain-free. It could be the difference between you snuggling with your husband in the morning and feeling present during that time. It could be the difference between you spending this summer outside playing with your kids or sitting in pain in a chair watching them play on the sidelines. Vitamins and minerals are an essential part of not only your healing, but allowing your medications to be more effective. How can I say this? Because science supports this. The science exists. And if your doctor is not mentioning this to you, that's okay. That's why I'm sharing this with you in this podcast right now. Now, a question that you may be asking yourself right now, if my medications are causing nutrition deficiencies, what diet do I have to follow so that I can address them? Which is such a good question. And now I will say that this will be different from person to person. However, I am going to give you some guidance on this right now, but know that depending on what medications that you're taking and how long you've been taking them and what diagnosis that you have will ultimately impact how you strategically step forward. However, One thing that you can just focus on right now that can quite literally make or break you on this healing journey is understanding this one fact. Eating healthy does not equal eating anti-inflammatory. I'm going to say that again. Eating healthy does not equal eating anti-inflammatory. In fact, I would put $100 on the table right now that you actually don't know what an anti-inflammatory diet truly is because of the noise of so many people trying to prove to you what an anti-inflammatory diet is and isn't. And it's very likely that you have this idea that anti-inflammatory diets are based on foods that you have to eliminate. Right? So you have to eliminate dairy or gluten or sugar or soy or carbohydrates, right? Or processed foods. What most people see is if I eliminate these things, then my diet becomes more anti-inflammatory. And that is actually not the case. Here's the truth. Anti-inflammatory diets are not based on the foods that you eliminate. Anti-inflammatory diets are based on the foods on your plate. This means that the health of your meal isn't established by what is not on your plate. It's what are you actively eating regularly and how is this contributing to your health? And so instead of focusing on what you need to get rid of and avoid and all these, people out here who are trying to fearmonger certain foods, and my gosh, this will always exist. It's existed for the past 40 years. It's going to continue to exist. And the sooner that you cut the noise, the sooner that you stop listening to these people who profit off of demonizing foods and labeling them as bad, that will actually be one of the best things that you can do. And instead of trying to eliminate these foods just because they're bad, you can instead focus on what can I add to my plate? What can I focus on adding this week? And this is a really beautiful way to not only increase the anti-inflammatory power of your meals, this is also a budget-friendly way to do it, and it's a family-friendly way to do it. Changing your diet all in one sweep actually doesn't set you up for success, but taking action step by step, one color at a time, that can change the game for you. And if you're a mom, that can change the health of your entire family. So feel free to take action with that action step today. And if you are looking for specific guidance on this conversation about how to start healing alongside medication, make sure you scroll into the notes and download the free guide, How to Heal Alongside Medication. This is a more deep dive conversation about what we talked about today, and it can absolutely be a game changer for you, not only when it comes to symptom relief, but it can also absolutely change your life in potentially seeing, maybe for the first time, that there are options for you. There is a path forward that can help you feel like you again. And despite what you may think or what doctors may say, you are not too far gone. You are not out of options, and better health can be within your reach. I hope that this podcast was helpful for you. Make sure that if you haven't already, since this is a new podcast when it comes to YouTube, make sure if you haven't already to subscribe to this channel. We release podcasts every Tuesday. And if you know someone who has a connective tissue condition like scleroderma, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and more, feel free to share this episode with them. The truth is that hope is not very common when it comes to these types of diagnoses. And you never know how profound and powerful this message could be to someone who deeply, deeply needs it. I'll see you next time. Bye.